Hello, I'm Robin. I'm a certified financial planner, certified private wealth advisor, wealth manager by trade, and your rich auntie. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video that turned out to be very popular, and it said $1 million in a retirement account leads to a broke retirement. Well, now I'm going to turn it on its head and tell you when having $1 million in a retirement account is too much money. Okay, so let's go back to a couple of weeks ago where I posted the video that having 1 million in a retirement account leads to a broke retirement. It leads to a broke retirement when you're 67 and you have $1 million in a retirement account. Now, let me just put a little grain of salt with that. 10% of retirement accounts in America have balances of 1 million or more. Most of those are people in their late 50s, early 60s. They've worked for 30 years for that. They're in the end zone. They're a couple of years away from retirement, and they've reached the promised land of $1 million in their retirement account. Most people in America retire with far less money than $1 million. You can create a successful retirement with less than $1 million, but often it's going to be a retirement of compromise. And, I don't know about you, but if I've worked hard all my life, I don't want to make compromises. If I want to go on a trip, I want to go on a trip. If I want to dine out, I want to dine out. I want to lead my golden years in much of the same way as I've led my working years, which is in a pretty comfortable way. So when is $1 million too much for retirement? So let me give you a scenario. So let's say we have a 27-year-old young woman. She's starting her career in a corporation. She lands a good job and the job pays well. The company has a 401k with a 6% match. There's also an after-tax account, and she does a backdoor Roth. So at 27, she's still pretty young, and she says, you know what? I'm just going to go full throttle and max it out for a few years. I'm going to max out all these different opportunities. So she starts working. She maxes out her 401k. She puts some money in the after-tax account. She does a backdoor Roth. She gets the match. She's going full throttle through her 20s. She may change companies in her 30s, but she decides that she's going to do the same thing. In her 40s, she may change companies again. Her income is rising because she's getting promoted and she's moving up. She's doing a really great job, and she now earns a good six-figure salary, and she's still maxing out that 401k and after tax and backdoor Roth. And I meet her when she is 47. Now, if you've done all those things, by the time you are 47, you have anywhere from $750,000 to you already have exceeded $1 million in your account. You may also be doing the employee stock program or ESOP or other things that may have pushed you over the million mark. And this person has over $1 million or just under $1 million sitting in a 401k account. What advice do I give that client? Now, there's a bunch of factors that have to be worked out, and I have to run the numbers. But in some rare cases, the good advice would be to stop maxing out all these accounts, to contribute up to the company match in their 401k, and let their retirement accounts ride. Okay, they have too much money in a retirement account because they have 1 million plus at 47. Which is very different than 1 million at 67. Why? 47, if you're planning to work another 20 years, you have 20 years of compounding interest to carry that amount that you already have in your retirement account. You will retire at 67 with millions with an S in those retirement accounts. So let me explain a little bit further. So you're basically floating on compound interest for the next 20 years. And even with an 8% rate of return or a modest rate of return, you'll still be a millionaire several times over by the time you reach the age of 67. I've encountered about 12.5 people who really fall into this category. And there's a few factors that the person has to meet to get that advice that it no longer makes sense to max out their retirement accounts. It makes sense to match the company's match and just let it ride for the next 20 years. First, You need to have a $1 million balance before the age of 50 for this to really work out in your favor. Retirement is always time and compounding interest, and you need to have anywhere from 15 to 20 years until you actually retire out to really ride that cushion of money and ride compounding interest to your goal. The second thing, you probably work for a company that has pretty solid company matches and after-tax account and, a few other benefits. If your company is giving you 6%, 7, 8, 9, I've seen even 10% matches at certain companies, you can reach this goal. If you're working for a company that doesn't give a match or 1% or 2% match, it becomes a little bit harder because you have to front a lot more money in either an after-tax account or some other account to make this work. This is a big one. You need a plan for long-term care. For someone who this can really work out for, I really like to see a long-term care policy. If the person does not have long-term care and they experience a long-term care event early on or in the middle of their retirement, it can easily wipe out a large portion of their nest egg. If they have some form of long-term care insurance that can act as a buffer against their assets, that's definitely something that is working in their favor to having this work out. If the person doesn't have a long-term care policy, we have a conversation about it and we make a decision if a long-term care policy really is the right decision for them, and often it is. There's no legacy concerns with this person. Oftentimes this person does not have a child. If you can put away this amount of money, and it runs the equivalent of $3,000 to $3,500 a month for 20 years straight, you probably don't have kids. You probably don't have any legacy concerns. Oftentimes, this person says that they're going to leave whatever's left when they pass of this earth to charity. It's really good if the person has a pension, wonderful. Really good if the person has a high Social Security earning. If a person has pension and high Social Security, odds are they will lightly touch their IRA or 401k or Roth account. Most of their living expenses are going to be covered by their pension and their Social Security. If they don't have a pension, you can still work this plan with Social Security, but you need to be nearly at the top of the Social Security range for earning. Oftentimes a person leads a frugal lifestyle. They earn a really good income, sometimes mid six-figure income. They do not spend all that money by a long shot. They currently live a frugal lifestyle and they're willing to reevaluate certain lifestyle assumptions for retirement. That's always a good sign. This person is planning on working until age 67. There's no early retirement with this plan to ride it out on the cushion of compounding interest. You basically have to retire at 67 at the soonest or later. We need a good 20 years for that compound interest to really get in there and do its magic for this plan to work. You need to own a home by retirement. I've talked extensively about that. Also, you need to have a considerable amount of your retirement assets in Roth. We need to have a plan to Rothize a considerable amount of your assets. It's very rare that I meet people that meet all or most of these circumstances. Like I said, it's happened probably 18 to 20 times in my career, and I've been a financial advisor for about 8 or 9 years at this point. It's rare, but it does happen, and it's wonderful to meet someone that you can tell them, look, you don't have to max out your retirement savings. You can contribute up to the match, and we can take the rest of that money that you were going to sock away in a 401k account, and we can use that for other income generating assets. Now, the income generating assets may be real estate. It may be putting it into your brokerage account, or oftentimes these people are at an income level where we can look at private equity or hedge funds for investing the rest of that cash. So, this is something interesting because a lot of financial advisors don't talk about this because it's rare that we encounter people who are in this situation. They're doing such a phenomenal job in saving for retirement, they can take their foot off the gas. The concern in letting them go full throttle until age 67 is they're going to retire with many, many, many millions in a 401k or in a Roth account. The problem with that is, and this is something getting esoteric and a little bit out there, but we don't really control retirement accounts and the rules around retirement accounts. The government controls retirement accounts and the rules around retirement accounts. There is a provision on the line for 2025 that people with assets of 10 million or more in certain retirement accounts will have to take some of that money out. So this person who is 47 now is doing a phenomenal job. By the time they reach retirement, they have 5 million in a retirement account, and all of a sudden the government makes a rule that if you have more than 2 million in a retirement account, you have to take money out or do something different with it. A secret of the rich that financial advisors often don't say is that once people hit millionaire status in their retirement accounts, they often stop saving in retirement accounts. Why? Because retirement account is one type of income generating assets. There are many types of income generating assets that you can invest in, and you're locking money away that will be taxable in the future, likely when tax rates are higher, but it also whose rules that can change at any moment. The government can change the rules around 401ks or ROTH accounts, and you're just kind of stuck holding a bag because you've stuck basically all your wealth into this one type of account. So it's always more nuanced. Financial planning really operates in nuance. And if you think you may be in this situation or you want to create this situation for yourself, you're young and you have 20 years to put into saving for retirement, I do strongly suggest you work with an accountant or a financial advisor to run the projections and run the numbers and make sure this works for you. Like I said, there's a ton of ifs, ands, or buts with this to make it something that is applicable, but it sure is fun and it sure is interesting to encounter people in this situation and give them the good news that they've done an outstanding job in saving for their retirement. And they can now take assets and use it to generate other income producing assets that can give them a comfortable life. So there you have it. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. If you found this information useful, please like, please share, and please subscribe. Thank you.